Bowen Yang leaving Saturday Night Live in the middle of the season is the kind of entertainment news that doesn't just surprise people, it fundamentally reshapes how fans think about the present and future of the show. This isn't a routine cast shuffle or a polite end-of-season farewell that longtime viewers have grown used to. This is abrupt, it's emotionally loaded, and it's tied to one very specific symbolic moment, the Ariana Grande hosted episode, now confirmed to be Bowen Yang's final appearance as an SNL cast member. For longtime viewers, this announcement didn't just land, it hit hard. It felt like the rug being pulled out from under the show. Bowen Yang isn't simply another comedian who passed through Studio 8H. Over the last several years, he became one of the defining voices of modern Saturday Night Live, someone who didn't just participate in the show's evolution, but actively shaped it. His humor, his point of view, and his willingness to take risks helped keep the show culturally relevant during a time when sketch comedy itself was being questioned, dissected, and challenged by changing audience habits. The fact that he's leaving mid-season without a clearly framed goodbye has sent fans into a spiral of disbelief, speculation, sadness, and deep reflection. People aren't just reacting to a cast change, they're reacting to the loss of a presence that felt essential. To fully understand why this moment feels so enormous, you have to go back to what Bowen Yang represented the moment he entered the SNL universe. Bowen joined the show in 2018 as a writer, working behind the scenes at first, contributing jokes, ideas, and sketches before the average viewer ever saw his face. But even then, his voice was unmistakable. It was sharp, culturally fluent, emotionally aware, and unafraid to be specific. His humor didn't feel manufactured for television. It felt lived in, contemporary, and deeply connected to how people actually talked, joked, and thought. When Bowen was promoted to on-screen cast member in 2019, it wasn't just a career milestone, it was a historic moment. He became the first Chinese-American cast member in the show's decades-long history, and one of the most visible, openly gay performers the show had ever featured consistently. That alone made his presence meaningful, but Bowen never relied on symbolism alone. What followed made him impossible to ignore. From his earliest appearances, Bowen didn't fade into the background or wait patiently for attention. He stood out immediately. He leaned into absurdity without apology. He allowed characters to be messy, dramatic, overly emotional, and deeply strange. He found humor in vulnerability and sincerity, just as much as in exaggeration. And he had a rare ability to elevate even the most questionable sketch ideas into something memorable. Week after week, Bowen showed up fully committed. He wasn't afraid to take up space. He wasn't afraid to be loud or ridiculous, and he wasn't afraid to be honest in a format that often rewards broadness over depth. That balance of being fearless without being careless is what made him special. As seasons passed, Bowen became one of the show's most reliable performers. When a sketch needed an extra spark, he provided it. When Weekend Update needed edge or unpredictability, he delivered. When a character needed total commitment to land the joke, Bowen was often the one anchoring it. His performances didn't just generate laughs, they generated conversation. Critics took notice, industry insiders took notice, award nominations followed. But more important than any trophy or nomination was the relationship he built with the audience. Viewers trusted him. They knew that if Bowen Yang was involved, the sketch would likely be worth watching. That kind of trust is rare on a show where cast members rotate constantly and screen time is never guaranteed. That's why the announcement of his mid-season departure feels so destabilizing. Saturday Night Live has always operated on cycles. Cast members arrive, grow, peak, and eventually leave, usually at the end of a season, often after careful planning and emotional send-offs. Mid-season exits are uncommon, and when they happen, they immediately raise questions. Why now? Why this way? Why without a clear goodbye? Bowen's departure doesn't just disrupt the rhythm of the show, it disrupts the emotional contract viewers feel they have with it. And the timing couldn't be more complicated. This current season of SNL has already been marked by noticeable change. Several familiar faces have stepped away, reduced their presence, or exited altogether. The show is clearly in a period of transition, trying to balance legacy performers with emerging talent, while also competing in an entertainment landscape that looks nothing like it did even 10 years ago. In that environment, Bowen Yang wasn't just another cast member, he was a stabilizing force. He represented continuity. He represented relevance. He represented a bridge between generations of comedy. So when news broke that his final episode would be the one hosted by Ariana Grande, fans immediately started connecting dots. Ariana Grande isn't just another celebrity host in this story. She and Bowen share a genuine friendship and a creative connection that goes beyond a single episode. Ending his SNL run during her hosting night feels intentional, almost carefully chosen, like Bowen wanted his last moments on that stage to be shared with someone he trusts and respects. At the same time, the absence of a traditional farewell makes everything feel heavier. There will be no official goodbye speech, no long montage celebrating his years on the show, no explicit moment where the audience is told, "This is the end." Instead, viewers are being asked to watch his final episode with full knowledge of what it represents, carrying that emotional weight silently. That quietness, that lack of closure, is part of what makes this departure so intense. In the months leading up to this announcement, Bowen Yang had been increasingly open about his internal struggles. In interviews and conversations, he spoke honestly about the emotional and mental toll of working on Saturday Night Live. He talked about the pressure to constantly be funny, constantly be relevant, constantly prove himself. He admitted to moments of deep self-doubt, wondering whether audiences were getting tired of him, questioning whether he was still growing creatively or simply repeating what had worked before. Looking back now, those comments feel less like passing thoughts and more like warning signs. SNL is famously grueling. The schedule is relentless. Late nights bleed into early mornings. Sketches are rewritten endlessly. Performers are expected to deliver live with no safety net week after week. For someone as emotionally invested as Bowen, someone who puts genuine parts of himself into his work, that environment can be exhausting on a profound level. Burnout in that world isn't a failure, it's almost unavoidable. And Bowen's life doesn't just exist inside Studio 8H. Outside the show, his career has been expanding rapidly. Acting projects, voice roles, writing opportunities, live performances, and podcasting have all demanded his energy and creativity. At some point, maintaining all of that alongside SNL becomes unsustainable. What makes this moment especially bittersweet is that Bowen isn't leaving because he has to. He's leaving while he's still thriving, while he's still relevant, while audiences still want more. That kind of exit takes confidence and clarity, and it suggests a deliberate choice rather than a forced one. Fans, however, are still processing the shock. Social media has been flooded with tributes, emotional messages, and compilations of Bowen's most iconic moments. Viewers are revisiting sketches that helped them through difficult times, characters that felt unexpectedly relatable, and performances that made them feel seen. For many people, Bowen wasn't just funny, he was meaningful. There's also a strong sense of protectiveness in the reaction. Fans don't just miss him, they worry about him. They wonder what pushed him to this decision. They wonder if he's okay. And because Bowen has always been open about vulnerability, those concerns feel personal rather than distant. But there's another side to this story that feels hopeful instead of heartbreaking. Bowen Yang has never been someone who stays creatively stagnant. His entire career has been built on growth, reinvention, and taking risks. Leaving SNL doesn't mean leaving comedy, it means leaving one very specific structure behind to explore new possibilities more fully. It means choosing long-term creative fulfillment over short-term comfort. When viewers watch his final episode, every appearance will carry extra meaning. Every sketch will feel like a quiet goodbye, even if it's delivered through laughter. Every line will be watched not just for humor, but for emotion. It's the kind of episode that will live in fans' memories long after it airs, not because of any single joke, but because of what it represents. Bowen Yang's time on SNL changed the show. It changed who felt represented by it. It changed how comedy could sound and feel on a mainstream stage. And while his departure feels sudden and painful, it also feels like the closing of a chapter that mattered deeply. This isn't a goodbye forever. It's a transition, a turning point, a moment where one of comedy's most distinctive voices steps away from a legendary platform to build something new on his own terms. And if Bowen Yang's career so far has proven anything, it's that wherever he goes next, he'll bring the same intelligence, honesty, and fearlessness that made audiences fall in love with him in the first place. This chapter is ending, but the story is far from over. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.